All right, Pot on Lansdowne is pleased to welcome back onto the program resident Yankees fan, friend of the program, Emily Nyman. You were on here last year to talk about the Bronx Bombers, and you're back again to kind of talk about the Bronx Bombers. We'll get into it into a second, but thanks for being game enough to come back onto the program. It's good to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me. I am psyched to be back, psyched for a new season and see what it has in store.
At M, she does it on Twitter. One of the few Yankee fans I can tolerate on the old Bird app. Nick's tape being one of them. I actually take that back. There's a fair amount of funny Yankee fans out there, like Hoodie Tanaka. Like they're funny. Handful of one. There are much more annoying fan bases out there, not named the Yankees. Although there's obviously plenty of Yankee fans on the Bird app that grind the gears. I'm sure you would say the same thing about the Red Sox. Now, Emily, last year when we had you on, we did the inside the lines baseball sort of talk, like the actual, what do we expect from the Yankees? What about the Red Sox? You know what I mean? Can they make it to the World Series? I'm not interested in that and in any of that this year. Any of that. Any of that. Because today, Wednesday, March 15th, we're recording this early. This will be dropping next week. We're recording this early. So if something happens with the Yankees or the Red Sox until then, we don't know. In the meantime, the most important story of the offseason, in my opinion, dropped. This is on Yahoo Sports, although I believe it was originally reported elsewhere. I'm not sure if you know that. Sports Illustrated.
It was on Sports Illustrated.
Yep, Stephanie Apstein of Sports Illustrated originally had this, although I have the Yahoo Sports blog in front of me now. So I just wanted to give proper attribution. The Yankees, this is the headline. The New York Yankees, the team you're a fan of. MLB's most valuable franchise, important disclaimer, still make players pay for in-flight Wi-Fi. This is the only thing I want to talk about today. My goodness gracious.
How? What the hell? He's literally a billionaire. Not only is he a billionaire, but he's a billionaire because he was born because of birth luck. It's like, dude, you didn't have to lift a finger to be a billionaire, and you can't pay the 40 grand or whatever it is just for the Wi-Fi for the year? What the hell?
Clearly, they shouldn't have re-signed Judge. I mean, if they're still having their players foot this bill, I mean, you can't be spending all willy-nilly on so-called AL MVPs. All right,
And you'd think that, Delta, obviously, they have a partnership with the Yankees, and there's that big Delta signing at Yankee Stadium. Why not do a little, barter? Hey, instead of paying for this ad space, how about you just throw our guys some Wi-Fi for free, for a few seasons? I just don't even understand how this sort of thing happens at this level. How did the CBA get signed with this sort of injustice going on? I want to know.
For months, we were dragging our feet about player compensation, all this proper stuff, draft picks, the playoffs things. We couldn't have had a little article in there that been hey, if Garrett Cole wants to play some Angry Birds or something like that, and get the new pack for that or something like that. If he wants to play a little mobile Fortnite, he should be able to do without having to pay for it himself. I think that's just an added perk.
I love the idea and the thought of Cole getting on the plane and opening up his iPad and then the page coming up to pay for the Wi-Fi and him being oh, for Pete's sake, every single time, just getting so frustrated.
That's the thing with because at the end of the day, obviously for these guys, it's probably $10 for Wi-Fi to get on the flight, whatever plane you hop on. It's not the end of the world, even for regular people like you or I. It's annoying, but it's not completely breaking the bank. I don't know if they still do it by hour or if it's just for the flight. The point is, it's not it's this wicked big expense, and especially not for players like this. If I'm Garrett Cole, or if I'm Aaron Judge, if I'm Giancarlo Stanton, if I'm Carlos Rodon, whoever it is, it's the annoyance of having to actually put in your card and stuff like that. That's pissing me off the most. Yes. That's what's annoying me the most, because whether you have chartered planes or private planes, whatever it is, you can have all that stuff set up on the back end. But no, now that you have to buy it yourself, you have to pull out your card, you have to put in the 16 numbers, you got to put in the expiration date, the security code. And also, Aaron Judge, if you're listening to this, do me a favor, just send me those numbers, the 16 digits and the 3 little numbers in the back. Just I got to make
I'll
sure
handle it
you're
for you.
not being scammed. That's all. Trust me, I have your best interests to play here, Aaron. But that would annoy me the most. That it's the like I just did this on the way to Oakland. Now I have to do it as we go to Houston. It's a big pain in the ass.
And also, like, it's a custom plane. So it's not even like they're getting on just some random Delta flight out of JFK or
Yeah,
whatever.
high
It
spirit. You know
literally
what I
has
mean?
like, yeah, like this plane was made for them. Like I think it was Higgy in that article saying how like they have poker tables and they have all this shit in the plane. So like Delta really like the Yankees and Delta were like, all right, we're pulling out all the stops. And they're like, well, what about Wi-Fi? And Hal was like, well, back up the truck. No one said anything about Wi-Fi. The custom captain's chairs, the poker tables, all that is good, but Wi-Fi is just a step too far.
Do you think like IKF or Judge or whoever's playing poker that night? Do you think like instead of some chips, they're like, I'll raise you 3 free nights of the Wi-Fi. I'll pay for your Wi-Fi for three flights. Huh? Oh, like I'll call.
Ju-
Right?
Judge is just like lording over everybody with that. He's like, how about free Wi-Fi if you give me that seat in front of the plane? They're like,
Yeah,
damn
right.
it,
Just
Judge.
bartering it from there, just bullying people off of hands and whatnot, just pushing with all the free Wi-Fi. We get into this article again. This is the Yahoo Sports one. The Yankees are arguably the most prestigious and well-known team in MLB. They're also
Arguably.
inarguably the most valuable franchise in the sport. The team is valued at $6 billion per Forbes, making it one of the most valuable franchises in all of professional sports. Despite that, the team makes its players pay for in-flight Wi-Fi. I can't get over it. They're one of 2 teams that engage in this tactic, according to SI. Stephanie Apstein, again, the other is Cincinnati. Now, that one makes sense. It doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. Like, again, Cincinnati could foot this bill. All the teams could foot this bill. Pittsburgh, Miami, you name it. But it tracks that the Reds would do this, being like, guys, like, we can't even, like, we can't even scrap 75 wins together, man. You're on your own if you want to watch some YouTube. We can't get you there. We'll pay for the meals and everything, but if you want to catch up on your latest Twitch stream or something like that, you're on your own.
I like picture their plane looking like the plane from Major League that has like the propellers and like the duct tape around the wing and shit.
Yeah, right.
And I love that Oakland apparently they even pay for Wi-Fi for their players.
Yeah, Oakland's stadium is falling apart at the seams basically, but no, they can cover the Wi-Fi. That they can do.
But it is for show because apparently it doesn't always work. So, and I don't miss those days on a lot of flights. I'd pay for Wi-Fi on like Southwest. It wouldn't work for like the entire 2.5 hours.
In-flight Wi-Fi
New
is
York.
garbage. Yes.
So are they really even missing anything?
Good point. So, this is all like, maybe just saving the headache. Like they know at this point not to even try it. In-flight Wi-Fi is horrible. I don't know if you've ever tried this though. Have you ever tried like charter bus Wi-Fi, like a Greyhound bus or a Peter Pan bus or something like that? That's even more useless than useless. Why even bother with that? At least like an in-flight Wi-Fi, it's just slow. It takes a while, but eventually you can get onto Twitter. Eventually you can get connected to something like that. You're back in the Stone Ages if you're on a bus. And that's like one of their advertisements. I used to take the buses back from where I went to UMass out in Amherst. I would take it back over towards Boston, for holidays, long weekends, whatever it is, if my parents couldn't come out to get me. And that was always like a big selling point for Peter Pan. It's like, hey, we have chargers, which the chargers never worked. We have Wi-Fi. Don't even try it. It's no use. So you always tell yourself, oh, I'll be able to get some homework done or something like that. I'll be able to upload something onto Moodle or something like that on the internet. Nope, wouldn't be able to do that. Might be able to listen to music. Nope, it's bad connectivity anyways. You can't connect on your own data, and you can't get connected to the Wi-Fi. It's a lose-lose. So, so just when the Yankee players think that they have it bad enough, just be happy that they're not riding the buses like in the minors, because those guys, they're not going to get any Wi-Fi whatsoever.
No, like they don't even have dial-up in like their apartments where there's 10 people sleeping in one bedroom. Like I can't even imagine. That's why it's funny having like, they interview Judge and Cole, but then they interview the guys who like are on the other end of the spectrum of the team. And some of them were in the minors a lot like more recently than them. So they have like way better perspective. Like Higgy has a much better perspective on it than Judge, who gets the free Wi-Fi anyway because he has T-Mobile. So it's like, why even ask him? The have and the have-nots, just always. It's like, even in this situation, Judge is like, well, me and my whole family, we have, T-Mobile, so it's not a big deal.
Man,
because
at
he
least
was
stand up for
sponsored
your
by them or
teammates,
some
man.
shit,
Stand up for the guys who haven't been able to get paid 9 figures yet. Come
right?
on. The
And also,
captain
like,
of the team.
and what's kind of spokesman is he for T-Mobile that he can't even get his teammates to sign up for that shit? Like, the whole team should be on T-Mobile. He can't even get that done. T-Mobile,
When
maybe
he had
talk
all
to
the
me.
negotiation power in the world. I mean, he had the Yankees by the cojones the entire time. He could have asked for the plane. He was like, "You're going to give me the plane. It's my plane. It's Aaron Judge 1 now, and we fly where we want to fly. If everyone has to walk, they have to walk. But I'm taking the plane for myself." This was a good line in the article. The cost for a year of in-flight Wi-Fi is roughly $40,000, and Epstein describes it as about the price of 4 Garrett Cole pitches. Uh, to my question,
It cost the Yankees more money to freaking, what was that opening day last year against the Red Sox, when on like the first 4 pitches of the game, he gave up like a 3-run home run by that point. So it's
yeah,
like, they can't even they paid for that for 40 grand. So just do this. Like,
yeah.
I really am at a loss here.
I wonder what
I
4 pitches it would be like if you could pick the 4 pitches of Garrett Cole's season that this would cost. I mean, that Devers home run opening day, yeah. Did he have any in the postseason? Did he give up any home runs? And he had to have.
Oh my god, yeah, he definitely did. I mean, at this point, I've repressed most of those postseason memories because there wasn't many memorable moments.
Harrison Bader.
He at the
I mean,
very least gave up 4 home runs to Devers last year, so I feel like there you go. There's your 40 grand.
Devers. Listen, the Yankees are probably a better team than the Red Sox this year. When I say probably, I mean most definitely. However, 11 owns 45. If we're talking about
Oh
that
yeah,
inner pitcher matchup, oh my goodness gracious! And it's a
dude,
good thing
he
because we
can't
get to
pitch in
get that from
Fenway
them.
at all.
Yeah, I mean that's a
He
hitter's
can't.
ballpark anyways, and he gives up all the home runs. You know what I mean? Speaking of what, to get into actual inside baseball, I know Rodon is banged up right now. Are you nervous at all about Rodon? How he kind of tends to give up his fair share of fly balls pitching at Yankee Stadium. Are you nervous about that, or when he's healthy, you're just kind of like he's still going to be a dog for this rotation?
Yeah, like, literally no one gives up more home runs than Garrett Cole. Like, he, so like, knock on wood, it can't possibly be worse than that. So the upside is so high for both of them, obviously,
Yeah,
for Cole especially, but for Rodon, that, and in today's climate of the game, like where everyone is, trying to get some air under the ball and lift the ball, that it's just part of the game. Like, I'm fortunate. We're fortunate that there are guys on the Yankees that can hit a lot of home runs. So it's like, listen, if this guy's going to give up a home run here or there, I'd rather that than a grounder in the hole, walk, than have a bunch of runners on and just like
death
death
by
by
a
a
thousand
thousand
paper
cuts. You
jinx.
know.
There you go. Right. Um,
So it's like, it sucks when it happens with Cole, and it'll suck with Rodon. But what you pay for those kind of guys is their ability. They move on. They give up a home run. It sucks, but then they don't
strike out the
unravel.
side after that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So
Right.
it's like, whatever. They're not gonna not give up any runs. So I'd rather it be that way.
I've got Rodon on my dynasty fantasy baseball team, so I'm hoping he like goes 8 2/3 every inning, shutout baseball. Like whoever comes in out of the bullpen, they give up a solo homer. It's a 1-0 loss for the Yankees. I think that's the best situation for me. So I'm hoping for that every time he steps out onto the rubber.
I mean, I honestly, I can't. I'm gonna take that as a very nice compliment and a well wish from you. Like, that's the best I
He's a
can
good pitcher.
honestly hope for.
Rodon's pretty good. I mean, if the elbow can hold up, again, that's an F because he's had his history. But when he's actually on the mound, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, or at least he has been over the last couple of years. So back to the important stuff, though. Back to the Wi-Fi. Jameson Taillon is my new hero. I want to say, like, that's a working class man right there. He may have gotten paid over the years as a pitcher, but at heart, working class man. Taillon said he refused to pay for in-flight Wi-Fi with the team, quote, on principle. Just said, like, this won't stand, man. I can't have this. This injustice will not stand. I'm not going to be part of this system. And you know, I got to respect that. Shout out to Jameson Taillon for having a backbone to stand out here, to stand up to Hal Steinbrenner and say, no, can't do this.
I do. I love Taillon and I wish him the best. But I would love it. It's easy for him and these guys to say that because, like, it's easy to be like, oh, I don't need the Wi-Fi when you're going from New York to Baltimore or to Boston or
5-minute
like,
flight.
right. But it's like, Did Tyone have that same self-control, and were his principles just as strong when they were flying to Oakland or to Seattle or whatever? It's like, was he
Yeah.
sitting there just sweating, looking at the purchase Wi-Fi button on his phone, just like, no, Hal is not winning this time.
Love the quote in the SI article here. Of the world's problems, this ranks obviously near the top. I agree, clearly. I mean, this is a grave in general, I believe.
And I love the quote from Brandon Marsh from the Phillies that he just said, that sucks. And they have to shave their face.
That too, right? You know what I mean?
Just adding insult to injury.
Some guys like, I can't shave my face because I can't look up how to shave because I don't have the Wi-Fi because you're not paying for the Wi-Fi, so I have to keep the beard.
Some martyr should try to like use that. Like, I'm not shaving or until we have free Wi-Fi on these flights, like, and see who outlasts that battle. Like Judge, I feel like should be the one to do it because like, what are they gonna do? Kick him off the team?
Not at this point. They gave him the captaincy. They gave him the bag. You know. So if he does it again, he's got the world in his oyster, basically. So it's up to him how far he wants to take this. Marlins center fielder Jazz Chisholm burst out laughing when he heard about what the Yankees endure. When he boarded his first team flight in 2020, he dutifully entered his credit card information into the Wi-Fi portal, then lamented about how, bro, the Wi-Fi didn't even freaking work, and I paid $10.
That's every person on every flight ever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, what was it? What's the server? The early one was like Go. I remember that one. Like that was the whole thing. That was garbage Wi-Fi. I remember that back in the day. Yeah, Marlins provide players a code, and next paycheck he found that $10 were reimbursed. So again, this is a huge deep dive into just travel Wi-Fi on the plane. It's a very interesting article here.
It is, because it's like, it's I say this like tongue in cheek, but it is shocking that it's like, of all things, this is what they don't get. Like, this is something that's a la carte for them. Like, it still is not computing in my head. Like, I'm like, is this an Onion article that I'm really reading? Like, is this actually happening? The Reds and the Yankees? What the fuck?
Well, what's next for the evil empire? Like, are they gonna have to pay for extra leg room? You know, if they want to bring an extra
their children in the luggage hold. Like, what's Al doing?
Like, they're gonna have to pay for, complimentary drinks. Like, they're gonna have to pay $5 for a ginger ale now if they want one. Huh? I understand if they have to pay a little extra to take the edge off if they want a buzzball, right? But like, if they want a Coke, they should just have a Coke. They're Major League Baseball players, for crying out loud. Come on,
dude. I hope that they actually serve buzzballs on those flights. Like, that would be incredible.
I've flown Spirit a couple times, and I'm always tempted to, but I've never gotten them. They sell them at liquor stores, at least in Massachusetts. Yeah. And again, I always look at it and be like, maybe I should try one of them. So if I'm ever on Spirit again, which I hope to God I'm not, but I might have to. But I always get tempted. Like, I think they had like a Moscow Mule one. I think that there's a margarita one. So I've always been
one.
Yeah, I've been tempted. I've never pulled the trigger.
I used to work at a liquor store, and they would literally be right next to the register, and I would just be like staring at them like, should I have one? I never had one because, like, at the end of the day, I'd end up being like, nah, this looks gross. This looks gross. But my entire shift, I'd be like totally tantalized by it. Like, should I try this? Like, no, I can't.
Former liquor store employee, me and you both, friend. I used to stock beers in the back. Throw it on the sweatshirt, throwing it off because it was on and on out of the cooler. But like in the middle of the summer, it'd be wicked hot. So it's you can't do one or the other for the entire shift. So you have to throw it on and off. But yeah, I did that as a summer job in college to make a little extra money, a little extra drinking money. Ironically enough, that's probably what it was for.
And it must be nice. There's in New York State, you can't sell beer in liquor stores.
You can't sell beer in liquor stores? What?
Just wine and liquor, and like there's no wine sold in supermarkets or anything either. Just beer.
Okay, so you get the beer in supermarkets.
Yeah, and also we have beer distributors where it's like basically a beverage distributor, but they have like every single type of beer, and basically every town has one.
That's weird. Okay, so like in Massachusetts, at least most of the places that I would go to for food shopping, I can't imagine that there's exceptions to this. There's no alcohol in supermarkets. Again, maybe someone in some random town has it. None. No, it's
liquor. You mean? Or a beer too.
Or beer, wine, liquor, you name it, none of it there. You can get beer and wine at gas stations. You can get, we have specific liquor stores that have everything, beer, wine, liquor, you name it. But supermarkets, no. I've
Hmm.
always kind of like, it's kind of weird that they have them at gas stations. You know what I mean? Where it's literally people are like, you can't, don't drink and drive, but hey, if you're gonna get your gas, you might as
Maybe.
well pick up a 6 pack, right? But at supermarkets, no dice. Um, God,
Interesting.
God, this is like when the Lakers. Remember when the Lakers applied for a small business loan during the pandemic?
They did?
The LA Lakers, they did, yes. Let me pull up that exact story too, because that I was instantly reminded of that when this came up.
Oh my
Lakers
god.
small business loan
They got one of those PPP loans for their fucking payroll? Are you kidding
from
me?
NPR, April of 2020. Even the Los Angeles Lakers got a PPP small business loan.
Oh my
They gave it
god.
back. They gave it back to full transparency. But to quote Jameson Taillon, it's the principle of the Los Angeles Lakers getting a small business loan.
Dude, I can't stand rich people must be stopped. This is getting out of control.
It
Like,
really,
what the hell?
just when you think that it couldn't get any more ridiculous, here are the Yankees being like, sorry, we can't pay for your Instagram scrolling right now. Um, Several large restaurant chains, again, this is April 2020, an asset management firm, and even the Los Angeles Lakers have returned money that they received from the first $349 billion allotment in the Paycheck Protection Program. How much did the Lakers get? Does it say? Da, 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 da.
It should. That's like public information, I'm pretty sure. Wow, what a fucking sorry. Can I curse?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Go, yeah,
What an
absolutely.
embarrassment.
I think you already cursed a couple times, so like it was fine anyways. Like the seal was open, but we swear all the time on the show. We
All
swear
right,
all the
good.
fucking time.
I did drop a few. I'm like, whatever. Maybe he won't notice if I
Yeah, right, yeah,
curse.
exactly. Um, who said that? Who's this Munchin fella? Treasury Secretary Steve Munchin. I don't know how to
Oh
pronounce his
yeah.
name off the top of my head, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the fact that the Lakers took a $4.6 million loan. I think that's outrageous. They would have had a
Wow.
liability, he said, had they not returned the money.
I mean,
Had it
that would
not
have been
gotten
even
reported,
more
they would.
outrageous.
What was that?
That would have been even more outrageous if they
Right.
took the loan and then somehow like defaulted on it. Like they're the Lakers. They better return that money. Like, okay, Joe Manchin.
um, they absolutely would have kept that had that not like gone out. I mean, again, public information, right? So that information would have gone out one way or the other. But just in a world where it just somehow slipped under the radar, they would have kept that.
Oh, for sure.
They would have used that on a mid-level exception type of a player. Um, so yeah, basically, I guess my overall question is how does this summarize the entire demise of the New York Yankees as a franchise, as a brand, you name it? I mean, this is indicative of a much larger problem that will go on for years to come, obviously, when it
Yes.
comes to
I
the
mean,
Yankees' demise.
honestly, like I thought Isaiah kind of Falefa starting every game at shortstop alongside Josh Donaldson was rock bottom, but I was wrong. It was only going to get worse that they were still going to be on the team. And then this news was going to come out. And I just like, I would almost like adopt a player program. Like I will pay $350 for freaking Jameson Taillon to have Wi-Fi for the year. Like this
Won't
is
you
insane.
won't you be my Wi-Fi neighbor? We'll do that.
Yeah, like for 2 pennies a day, you can have a major leaguer get Wi-Fi on his plane.
Sarah McLaughlin playing in the background in the house. It's
Like
just
ICAF looking up all sad from his,
yeah.
his
I was gonna
iPad
say
screen.
Stanton scrolling Twitter and he's just like shaking his head. His eyes get all big and glossy. One sing
Just the weights thing.
zooms in on Garrett Cole and it's just like one singular tear going down. In the eyes.
I'm
Man.
on the upside though. I am going to actually, anytime there is an awful start for anybody or game for anybody on the road, it's the Wi-Fi troubles. If there was just free Wi-Fi, they would be able to relax on the flight, and this guy wouldn't
Yeah.
have had a bad start. This guy wouldn't be pissed off because he'd be able to be all over Tinder or whatever these kids are doing these days. And now I just have the perfect scapegoat. I'm always looking for one, and this one really jumped out early. So thank you, Hal, you cheap prick.
It's not the bottom half of the order. It's not that it's too right-handed heavy. It's not.
No.
No, it's the Wi-Fi. I think that's a perfectly valid excuse. Almost makes me want to
Thank you.
excuse the entire 2022 Red Sox season because of something like that. If it came out that like, oh, the Red Sox were all scrunched up in the plane, I'm like, well, that's why they didn't go back to the ALCS. There's nothing else that would explain that.
No. And also, they are all in the same union, so even maybe some sympathy pains. They are rivals, but hey, they're upset that their union brothers are being mistreated like this.
Common struggle.
Yeah, like third-class passengers on the Titanic style.
The band plays on as the plane floods, and by the plane floods, I mean that no one can load their text messages. A couple more actual questions about the Yankees because you mentioned Josh Donaldson. I have to ask this: when is Judgment Day for him? When are Volpe and the rest of the kids filling up the infield from here on out?
It should be opening day.
It should be.
It should be.
Right.
It should be. Like the whole idea, and I'm not an anti-minors person at all. It serves a purpose and people love it. But the whole they're not ready is such guys are ready a lot sooner than any team lets on. And today I think Hal was like, oh, when the guys are ready and deserving, they'll get a shot, just like Judge did. But Judge played 3 years in college. He wasn't drafted until he was 21, so he came up at 24.
He was sort of a late bloomer when he came up, right? Yeah,
right.
He was, yeah.
So it's like, is he implying that Volpe, who's now only 21 or 20, he'll get called up like Judge did in 4 years? Like, they're playing IKF in other positions, so getting him ready for a utility spot, which that is promising. But they are paying Josh Donaldson like $25 million. So there's no chance they're going to pay him. I mean, Hal won't even pay for Wi-Fi. They're not paying Josh Donaldson to sit on the bench all year.
To do nothing, right?
Yeah. Honestly, he should forfeit his salary to get the team Wi-Fi.
I was going to say, do they do like the Moneyball thing? Does Billy Bean give him a call and be like, hey, we'll take Donaldson. It's the reverse of you have to pay for our sodas. You know what I mean? We'll pay for your Wi-Fi. Just fork over Donaldson. Bring him back over to Oakland.
Please, God, I hope
get
that
him off the books. Is he on a walk?
His Judgment Day happened last year, by the way. I'm done with him. I don't care. I
was going to say, I don't think Yankee fans are high on him. I don't think anyone's high on him. I don't like Josh Donaldson. I think he's a tool.
I've always hated him. Always.
And now you have even more of a reason to hate him. Is he on the last year of his deal?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the last year. Thank God.
I was going to say, so it's not that much longer you have to deal with it. So
no, just this entire season.
Yeah, that's,
just one of the years of Judge and Cole's window that they're paying millions of dollars for.
When Stanton is still productive enough where he's powerful, you know what I mean? Where you have team control for Oswaldo and potentially Volpe. That's okay. That's fine. Last question though. In your heart of hearts, where do you think that the Yankees finish this year in terms of the division and in the playoff race? Because I do think that they'll make the playoffs one way or the other. So
yeah, I think they'll make the playoffs. I mean, I think that it's their division to lose. I think they'll win the division. And I think that they, at this point, unless, barring some blockbuster moves at the deadline, I think that they're going to lose to the Astros and the ALCS. I think it's just going to be fucking horrible repeat of just the last 5 years on repeat. Like, it's just, I'm in hell. This is hell. I really don't know how else to describe it. And I feel like I'm just stuck in, what did I do to deserve this?
Groundhog Day.
My God.
You're not going to be hearing much sympathy from me, obviously, or any of the listeners of this podcast, but we appreciate you having you on, Emily. If people want to find you, if people want to learn more about your time as a flat circle hellscape that you're currently living in with the New York Yankees, where can they find you? Where can they tune in?
You can find me on Twitter at MSheDoesIt, and my podcast is the Breaking Balls podcast, and we're on Twitter as well at BreakBallsPod, and we release one episode a week, usually on Wednesday or Thursday. So check it out. If you like this show, you'll probably like that show too.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
Can't confirm
that. Yeah, again, it's funny enough with the Yankee stuff, especially when you guys again are in hell. It may, we'll tune in. It'll be, what is it? Schadenfreude? What's the word?
Schadenfreude.
I think, something like that. I know it's German. It's something like that. So, Emily Nyman, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to talk with us on the program. Again, if anything changes on the Wi-Fi situation, whether the Red Sox drop their free Wi-Fi program or if the Yankees change it, we have a hotline like DC in Moscow. We have the red phone to pick you up and get you right back onto the show.
Wi-Fi watch.
Wi-Fi watch 2K23. Thanks again.
Thanks so much for having me.